Aloha, Pokemon fans! I don't know how to start videos. Pokemon Sun and Moon are on their way, and with them comes a brand new region, the Alola region. And the reason for that very forced intro. The Alola region is pretty much confirmed to be based on Hawaii, given the multiple islands scattered about the region, the regional professor being named Kukui, and, well, just look at all this. And while we of course know that we will be getting a slew of new Pokemon, we also know from various bits of leaked footage and the new Rotom Dex that Pokemon from previous generations will be reappearing in Pokemon Sun and Moon. But they can't just throw in any old Pokemon, right? Surely Game Freak will be choosing existing Pokemon based on the region's Hawaiian theme. So today I figured we'd take a journey through the Pokedex to find out which Pokemon would best suit the Alola region. But my knowledge of Hawaii is limited, to say the least. Luckily I have Lockstin here from Gnoggin to help me out, since he's actually Hawaiian.
Hello, Speqtor and Quoo!
Quoo?
Quoo. It's Crew. You're replacing the C with a Q because your name is Speqtor. Oh, okay. I understand now. That's awesome. That's really cute.
Yeah.
Anyway, hi, I'm Lockstin, and despite my less than sun-kissed complexion, I am in fact part Hawaiian. Distant even, but I have been there, my dad grew up there, and I do have many close relatives that are fully native Hawaiian. Though myself, I am definitely whiter than a cheesecake.
Skin tones aside, let's start by taking a look at the most notable feature of the Alola region: water. Funny that Game Freak should choose a region like this given their little debacle with IGN. A largely aquatic region would of course entail a lot of water Pokemon, and while yes, they already make up a large portion of the Pokedex, about 16.6% in fact, I say, hey, more the merrier. So let's start below the surface. Recreational diving is one of the most popular tourist activities in all of Hawaii, so assuming that they bring back the dive feature from the Hawaiian region, coral reefs are probably a likely candidate for a traversable area. The feature could be brought back via HM as it was before, or it could be given the same treatment that Fly got in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire.
For the use of a key item we will call the Alola Conch for now. You could summon a Pokemon such as Mantine or Lantern and surf and dive through all the waters of the Alola region. Not only that, but wild encounters would happen either in seaweed patches or in schools of Pokemon, much like the skies of auras. Regardless of the method, coral reefs are a massive melting pot of aquatic species in our world, and so the same could be applied to the Pokemon world. Corsola would be an obvious pick, followed by a flurry of water-type Pokemon like Finneon. You know, I forgot Finneon existed. Mantike, Shellder, Clamperl, Staryu, Frillish, Carvana, Alola, and of course, Luvdisc, which has already been confirmed.
Speaking of confirmed Pokemon, let's move ashore to the beaches of Alola with Slowpoke. Because yeah, more water-type Pokemon. Does in-game footage of Slowpoke on a beach mean that we'll have wild encounters on the beach? We can hope so. And with Slowpoke could come Pokemon like Wingull, Binacle, Krabby, Dwebble, Stunfisk, and Sandile. Less likely, yet still fitting, could be Marill and Weasel, cause I don't know, they're just kind of beachy. It's not a word.
What are you talking about? There's no need to beach about what is and isn't a word. Another commonly seen feature in the Alola region are its jungles, dense with vegetation. A perfect place for bug and grass-type Pokemon. Tropius, Exeggutor, Yanma, Kricketot, Tangela, Oddish, Bellsprout, Ludicolo, and Venipede. Oh, Venipede. Hawaii is home to so many unique species of centipedes and millipedes, it's terrifying. To fit the jungle theme, Pokemon like Chatot and Krogunk would likely be here too, as the jungles of Hawaii are home to many exotic birds and amphibians. Hawaii is also home to plenty of wild boars, so maybe a few Spoink and Grumpig are par for the course.
One other common feature around Alola is the cities. The interesting thing here is that unlike the cities of Unova, the Alola region is probably very clean. Hawaii has very strict policies about pollution, as it's a very popular tourist spot. So wild Pokemon in the cities of Alola would probably differ from Unova in the sense that the typical pollution Pokemon probably aren't even a thing there, or at least are very rare. In the big cities, Pokemon like Pidove, Smeargle, Pikachu, Dedenne, Joltik, Glameow, and more Chatot would flourish. I could also see a number of Bonsly, since modern Hawaiian culture borrows a lot from Japanese culture. Plus, I really like Bonsly, I want to see it, and this is my video.
Of course, Alola doesn't only have big cities, there are also small villages and farm towns spread about, and likely the Pokemon here would be different from the major cities, such as Zangoose, and Rattata. Mongoose and rats are not native to Hawaii, but were brought in. The rats accidentally, and then the mongoose on purpose to take care of the rats. And speaking about what's native and what's not, did you know that Hawaii only has one native mammal? And it's a fuzzy little bat. So there's likely going to be plenty of woobats in all of the caves and around the jungles. Also Burmy. Burmy's everywhere. The beach, the forests, the city, here.
And these are just the Pokemon that would be all over the place. Some will be exclusive to the individual islands, so let's start with the first island, the starting island. The only notable features here are the village where we'll clearly be starting our game, and this mountain that looks coincidentally like a cereal bowl, and thus is making me really hungry. Lockstin, take over for a second.
You're joking, right? He wasn't kidding. Anyway, the starting areas of Pokemon games generally have the fewest number of returning Pokemon, as to better show off, hey, look at all these new Pokemon we got. But that doesn't mean that there will only be new Pokemon. So let's still speculate about which returning Pokemon could be on the starting island. These buildings here look very much like traditional Hawaiian ones, and this is a common type of stage where fire and hula dances take place, meaning I think it would be awesome to see some Bellossom and Magby here. The Bellossom are not catchable yet, since a third evolution Pokemon this early on would be silly, but they would be there with their trainers. Perhaps Magby could be a somewhat rare Pokemon in the area around the base of this volcano. And speaking of that volcano, Speqtor, are you back?
Huh? Oh, Cereal Mountain. Right, sorry. This mountain is based on the Diamond Head Mountain and inactive volcano in Oahu. Here we could expect Pokemon like Larvitar, Geodude, Onix, and possibly the newest Pokemon to be revealed, Iwanko. Helioptile could also be found here since it seems a pretty optimal spot to soak up the sun's rays. Unfortunately, since it's an inactive volcano, fire types are probably nowhere in sight. So let's head to our next island due east.
The second island has a few unique and notable features, such as this graveyard, right next to a traditionally Japanese-styled town. Now try to guess what kind of Pokemon a graveyard has. Yeah.
Hey, don't just glance over ghost types, think about where you are right now. The most fitting ghost types here would be Ghastly and Litwick for obvious reasons, as well as Miss Drevis for its Japanese roots. Chimecho are also pretty likely to be roaming around. There is also this volcanic part, meaning Slugma is a given here, as is Magmar. Torkoal also has a good chance of being here, and maybe Numel, since it has a volcano on its back, but Hawaii is the last place you would expect a camel. Bulldoors would also be in the caves around the volcanoes, as rocks and crystals often form within the bases of them.
Another unique feature here are these... What in the world are those? Looks a lot like the Lake of Wisdom from Angry Birds. But there's also this beach resort over here, and who doesn't like some ice cream on a hot summer day? Vanillites everywhere.
Wait, why are we just glancing over the waterfalls?
And isn't this Hawaiian breeze just beautiful smelling? That's because of plenty of flowers and spritzies. Ooh, and here's a neat idea. Bring back Flabebe, but instead of it having some boring French flower, just give it some orchid of some kind of Hawaiian flower.
Hey, save it for the video on your channel.
Alright, fine. You should click that at the end of the video.
Now, back to those waterfall things.
And now on to the third island.
Alright, well, most notably is all this ice. Are we sure we're in Hawaii?
Hawaii actually does get snow on the top of Mauna Kea, which, by the way, fun fact, is if you measure it from the base of the mountain, which is super under the water, but if you measure it from that base, that's actually the tallest mountain in the world.
Interesting. Well, expect some Vanillix, Frostlass, and Sneasel, since Hawaiian ice cream, Japanese-inspired snow ghost, and weasels are pretty close to mongooses. I don't know, it's hard to place ice types in an area based on somewhere that's not known for its ice. There's this big cave under here, so lots of bats and rocks, which we've already covered. Really, the rest of this island is basically what we've already gone over, so... Last island, ruins, plateaus, trees, Solrock, Lunatone, now we can put them in the thumbnail.
Smooth transition. Xatu would be interesting here. Its name is partially derived from Atu, which is a man in Samoan mythology. Samoa also being within this Oceania Polynesia area. There are many terms for these islands. Behem and Sableye would also fit well. Sun and Moon has a lot of cosmic references, it seems, and these Pokemon being based on aliens would fit well. Oh, so for maybe Clefairy also. Maybe some Makuhita and Hariyama training within these plateaus. They are based on popular Japanese fighting styles that were also similar to some Hawaiian fighting styles. Plus there's the whole thing that we mentioned about Japanese culture, modern Hawaiian culture. They share a lot. Plus we should probably mention another fighting type.
Since this area is very ruin-y, I need to stop making up words. But since they are, Pokemon like Bronzor, Nosepass, Golett, and Golurk fit because alchemy references are a thing in Sun and Moon. The rugged, overgrown terrain could also set the stage for Pokemon like Ferocid, Amoonguss, Bagon, since Salamence was already confirmed, Gligar, and Noibats and Altarias perched along the bluffs. Now, there are of course a lot of holes, but those holes are to be filled with new Pokemon. And that's exactly what Lockstin and I talk about over on his channel. So click here and check that out.
And will all of these Pokemon return? Probably not. Will Pokemon return that we haven't mentioned? Probably. This is just an educated guess based on our real Hawaii. It's all fun speculation.
So, which Pokemon would you like to see make a return? Leave a comment and let us know. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more Pokemon content. I want to give a massive thank you to Lockstin from Gnoggin for joining me today. Links to all of our social media will be in the description. That's all for today, so until next time, this has been Speqtor.
And Lockstin.
And as always, stay bueno.